G'day my friends, this is Covey. This is the Crazy Ass Nuka channel, and I'm here to talk about the legalization that went through for Washington and Colorado. Yeah, I cannot believe that the legalization went through, and this little news article I've thrown on here is to show you some of the things that have been taking place. Like the countdown to the ability to legally take a fine and smoke outside. Sure, you get in trouble and they may take what you have, but you won't go to jail. Free at last. Thank God some of us are learning to find out what it's like to be free at last. Unfortunately, us in Canada, we're going backwards. We would like to put our people in jail ever so more. And now we don't have Mark Emery to fight for us with that incredible mind and abilities that he did to bring out truth. And then Rick Simpson, who saved a multitude of us, including myself, from the massive sickness I was going through. Changed my life. I was on the road to death I was on my way to an early grave. No doubt about it. And multiple times in my life, I tipped at 300 pounds. I was very sick all the time. Colds, flus stayed with me for long periods, well past other people's. Irritable bowel syndrome, allergies galore, just a numerous of items of physical ailments, and all of them cleared up, thankfully, because of Rick Simpson.
Winds of change are blowing through Washington state this morning, and you might say they smell a little funny. A new law is now in effect, the first of its kind in the U.S., that is allowing adults to own marijuana for non-medical use. John Blackstone reports from Seattle that supporters wasted no time celebrating.
3, 2, 1!
At the stroke of midnight, there were cheers in Seattle as marijuana officially became legal in Washington state. An impromptu celebration was held, appropriately enough, at the Space Needle, a Seattle high point.
Did you ever think you'd see this day?
I certainly did not. I did not by any means, but kind of glad it's here now.
The air was filled with the scent of victory for those who campaigned for this night. Although that itself is stretching the new law. It is not legal to use marijuana in public, just like alcohol. And while it is now legal for those 21 and over to buy marijuana, it is not yet legal to sell it. The state still has to write rules for licensing marijuana retailers.
This is the beginning of...
Washington voters passed the law partly because of the efforts of one well-traveled resident of the state.
Hi, I'm Rick Steves.
Rick Steves, who for 20 years has hosted his popular public television travel show, was prominent among those campaigning for legal marijuana.
Now, I've spent a third of my adult life in Europe, hanging out with people who think it's wacky to be locking up people for smoking pot.
In a show from Amsterdam, Steves gave a preview of what could soon be coming to cities and towns in Washington.
Throughout the Netherlands, bars selling marijuana are called coffee shops. Amsterdam alone has over 300.
He says America should not fear.
Consumption is not going to go up a lot. By every statistic, our governments and the Dutch governments, Americans smoke more pot than the Dutch. And the Dutch have the most liberal laws on pot in all of Europe.
Seattle's city attorney, Peter Holmes, also pushed for the new law.
All we've done, achieved by prohibition, is to fill our jails and to make drug dealers quite rich.
He says legal marijuana, even with high taxes, will be cheaper than illegal marijuana.
You want to put the drug dealers out of business?
Absolutely.
Now that marijuana is legal here in Washington, the state is going to start collecting taxes on it. The state hopes to raise some $500 million a year. But there is one catch. Marijuana remains illegal under federal law. For CBS This Morning, John Blackstone.
I think this is amazingly wonderful that some of the states in the United States took the chance to push forward, okay, because people are being criminalized wrongly. Organized crimes are becoming wealthy beyond. Even our own country, Canada, if you're a patient of the medical system and you decide to take the pot that Canada grows, which is grown in the Flin Flon, Manitoba, some deep in the fucking earth mine shaft, where they're hydroponically growing. Now, this is the kicker that pisses me off. They're selling the amount of marijuana that the patients pay for at the same prices as the organized crimes. What the fuck does that tell you about Canada, the government? It's just another drug dealer. There's no different than the fuckers, except that they're established legally, so that makes it all different, you know, because apparently their pot is so bad that everybody buys off the streets anyway. It's very inferior. Especially when you find out that the actual price for what they charge, for example, an ounce, which costs on the street value anywhere upwards to $300 on an ounce, they're selling at those kind of prices. And when it's all calculated, the actual cost, overhead, and everything concerned, it should be more like $15, $30. So criminals, our own country. Ridiculous. It's like the gentlemen or the people in the United States that got on the federal program in the 70s, I believe, before they shut it down and removed it again. Could have been the 80s, I don't remember exactly, but there's still a few of them alive, and they get a big tin can of this stuff, and it's gnarly looking, you know, full of leaf and everything, and they're smoking away. But if anybody actually knew that it's the eating of it, it is the consuming of it. You decarboxylize your medicine. It is that simple. It becomes inert. 90% of your medicine, because of the heat, it kills the medicine. Okay, 10% of it gets into your bloodstream and straight into your head, as you all know. But when you eat it, much more happens. You can build a tolerance. If you're eating it in the Rick Simpson oil method, you build a tolerance by small consuming and then enlarging your doses later. And you will notice that you can continue everyday aspect. You see me just smoke. Didn't affect me. Okay, I'm not intoxicated. I didn't just drink a bottle of vodka. I can smoke like that all day long and still be the same way, except that I might get a little bit more tired at the end. But you'll never hear a slurring or, you know, it's day and night on the comparison, and it's very frustrating that people have this terminology, because the television tube through the 70s and 80s and 90s, all of us were programmed to believe all of the lies that we're consistently told. And there are many of them. Okay, they told me as a child. I remember being told, don't eat the hemp seeds. Nobody knows where this knowledge came from. Don't eat the hemp seeds, they'll make you sick. They're the most nutritious fucking food on this planet. And I was told by all, and my friends, when we get it in our pot, we throw it away. Where did the disinformation come from? You know? Lack of knowledge. I know that if you eat it, and if you eat it in raw form, you can kill infections. You don't need penicillin. Okay, I have a video I'm going to put out. This finger was crippled 2 weeks ago. The severest of dislocations. I haven't got all my capacity of movement back yet. I can see it just coming in now. But we're talking 2 weeks and 1 day ago. So severe they said it should have broke. They said in normal circumstances the bone would have broke, but it popped on the knuckle, and they were able to pull it back into place. My understanding is I could be looking at 3 months to a year of severe physical therapy. And I've been eating and consuming the cannabis in large doses. And unfortunately, I know people who are able to get me it in different quantities and different arrangements. Raw and not raw. And I ate and consumed it. And I just put it right inside the meals that I eat. Spaghettis, whatever. You know, at the end, when the sauce is all cooked in that, you just throw it in with your spaghetti, with your spinach, whatever you like. Mix it in, it just shrivels up, you don't even notice it there, and it tastes wonderful to me. I mean, I know the capacity, because I've not taken any penicillin. I've seen numerous things go away, like mouth sores, you know, people get these gingivitis and stuff, and their gums are swollen and bleeding. None of that occurs in my family's life. I know the truth, my friends. I know the truth to the deepest of my heart, that God put this plant on. This plant was put on this earth for us to use. You know, I don't know if Jesus used it or consumed or had any portion of using it, but when I read certain scriptures that were only found, you know, and brought into light in the last 10 years, like the Nag Hammadi, or you know, the Gnostics, where they call them Gnostics, said they were sects because there was many of them at that time with different Christianity beliefs. but they actually have books like the Book of Thomas. You can actually read about Jesus as a child, growing up. I found that really fascinating. What blew my mind is when I read the part where Jesus had, at one point, told his disciples to take this pouch of medicine and go and heal the people. And his disciples said, "We're not physicians. We don't know how to heal people." And he said, "Here, take this medicine and give it to the people and heal their bodies first, and then heal their hearts and minds." So, I mean, I could have just changed the wording a little bit. It could have been just hearts, not minds. I don't recall. I read it a while ago, but go check it out, my friends. There are things that make you go, what the hell, you know? I'm not a big believer of religion. I believe in God with all my heart. I believe God is a lifelong thing, that every day you exist, it's for the betterment of your neighbors and the people around you, and you continually try to make things better and right, and I believe in fairness, you know, and not judging one another. And anyway, I don't know where I was going with this. I guess I'm trying to say that I wish the world wouldn't be so bitter, so cynical, and believe all these nasty lies that are proclaimed. I mean, when I grew up in the 80s and 90s, cannabis users were portrayed as really dumb, slow individuals, brainless. I knew a gentleman in school who fit that description perfectly. You know, everybody who's seen this person, I won't use his name, I'll call him Bill. Well, his name's Billy, but I won't take his last name, but he fit the description, not to be judgmental or anything, but if you watched and portrayed what they showed on TV for really slow, dim-witted people who portrayed cannabis users, he fit perfectly in the whole design of when you talked to him, how he reacted, how he never touched marijuana, didn't even care for it. Cannabis wasn't part of his mind even. He liked to drink. So it just goes to show, you know, like, these are the things that I'd learned, you know, the things like that the monkeys that they were showing signs in the 70s of studies that when they gave the marijuana smoke to the monkeys, it showed brain damage. And then later on, after court orders and battles to finally find the truth and bring it outwards, see, this is the thing. You have to go through court orders, and why don't they just disclose this information of how they did the study in the first place? Why? Because they were pumping the smoke continuously into the monkeys day after day with no oxygen. And what you were seeing was oxygen deprivation. The brain dies when it doesn't receive oxygen after, you know, a certain amount of minutes. Your brain cells start to die in your brain. And this is what they counted off, and when they finished killing the monkeys, they counted all the cells. Oh, look how many died. It's because of the marijuana smoke. It's complete erroneous, bad science, misleading, probably right out bald-faced lying. And when you start to learn that the pharmacies are scared shitless because you can take people off the many, many needless pills that they take. Cannabis creates a homeostasis within you. You will find a balance. If you're too skinny, suddenly you'll gain muscle mass and body weight to the right level where you should be for your body. If you're obese like I was, you know, up 300 pounds, I used to just smoke it, would bring me down 50 and 60 pounds. When I'd quit it and go back to college, went back to college, go back up to 300 pounds again. As soon as I started smoking again, dropped 50, 60 pounds in a very quick amount of time. I knew that it balanced my weight to there, but I was still another 30, 40 pounds overweight even then. 50 pounds probably overweight even then. So when I started to consume it, everything changed for me. I've seen so much. I couldn't even begin the list of the amount of things that I've seen personally for the help of my family. Even when I had blood poison, and this thumb was all blackened with necrosis, the whole nail, it was disgusting. The skin didn't attach anymore. You could move the skin and pull it down and see inside. Yeah, so I didn't go to the doctors and run there. I took a leap of faith because I already knew some of what I had learned, so I was willing to go further. I'm trying not to be a fool, but I'd risk myself than want to risk others first. So that's how I gained some of the knowledge. Blood poison. There was a line of blood poison coming down, and it went back down the back of my wrist. And it was down to the back of my wrist. Okay, and all I did was I ate cannabis. Somebody gave it to me. I put it in a milkshake. I blended it up. And in the days that I ate it, in 2 days, the line disappeared. And all this stuff that was loose and all the started to get better and better. I tried putting it on topically, and it wasn't working because the infection got into the blood. This is Covey, Crazy Ass Snoopy Channel. God bless all of you and all those your heart touches.